Hello. Are we all right? Perfect. Just checking in the chat here to make sure everything's good. First of all, I want to thank everybody here for having me. I'm super excited to be talking to you all today about scaling Web3 consumer applications on the blockchain. So let's dive right in. Forgot introduction. Hi, I'm Chase. I'm head of developer ecosystem and global growth at Solana Foundation. Just working globally to grow a developer ecosystem in Web3. And again, today we're talking about scaling consumer applications on the blockchain. So first of all, just a really quick, brief mission here. The Solana network has one core mission. It's a decentralized blockchain to enable scale and user-friendly apps for the world. This infrastructure has the ability to fundamentally change the digital world into a user-owned and operated platform. So scale, like as related to the title of my talk today, it is crucial that we enable scaling, because if we are not able to hit that mission right, this is never going to work. So let's dive in a little bit. So what is the problem? The problem historically has been scalability of blockchains in general. This prevents markets from leveraging the technology to power the economies, everything from institutions to corporations, developers, and ultimately the end users. If we ever want to succeed as an industry, we need to reach Web2 scale and speed and cost if this whole thing is going to work. So let's talk about a few of these things. So cost, speed, experience, and security. Cost, obviously, Web2 users are really not used to paying for transactions. They're not used to paying for interactions. So the cost has to be reduced to a reasonable amount. Right now, blockchains are, for Solana specifically, it's a fractions of a penny to transact on the Solana blockchain right now. That's reasonable, but other blockchains, and like why I say Solana is reasonable, it's still not perfect. But if you look at the landscape of other blockchains, we're talking everything from pennies to tens of dollars to hundreds of dollars for a single transaction. This is not going to be okay if we're trying to scale to the world. This is not going to bring in new participants. It's not going to bring in new users. We have to solve for this if we're going to build applications at scale. Speed, also, again, right now, Solana's doing roughly 400 millisecond transactions. That's being worked on to be reduced. 400 milliseconds is just shy of half, or just under half a second. That's fast, but not fast enough to reach the sort of Web2 speeds, which is essentially instantaneous. And the experience sort of relates to the top two. Cost and speed translates to the experience of the end user. So we need to nail these three things. If we're going to push the industry forward, if we're going to build applications that people want to use, we want to reduce all the friction and all the bottlenecks that exist in our industry today. And then the final one, security. This is really important because obviously blockchains are secured by cryptography. There's a lot of different types of securities. There's infrastructure pain points. There's bridging. There's just the application layer that also needs to be secure. And security really boils down to trust, because if people don't trust a technology, they're not going to use it. So our mission as an industry should be to make things as cheap as possible, as fast as possible, the experience as great as possible, and have as high trust as possible. And then if we nail all these things down, then we're going to be in a position that people are going to start to take this industry a lot more seriously. People are starting to pay attention, obviously, but if we want to be taken more seriously, Web3 applications on the consumer level need to be just as good, if not better, than their Web2 counterparts. All right, so I'm going to just talk about this chart. So we were speaking about speeds and confirmation times. Right now, if you look at there's a source on here. It's actually coming from the Circle developer docs. Circle 100% because of what they've done with their USDC coin, have to guarantee that like there's going to be no rollbacks, no forks in this. So they can't just assume that a transaction and just one confirmation, they cannot just trust that. So they have their own sort of confirmations and how many blocks that they have to wait for a specific blockchain before they'll actually consider that confirmed. Because just imagine this, I have USDC and I go purchase a physical good. I pay you with USDC, I receive that physical good, I walk out of the store, all of a sudden the blockchain rolls back, I get my USDC back and I have the physical good. There are so much complications with this and there's so much risk involved in that like Circle has to reliably understand and know what is going to work. And as you can see on this chart, we have Solana at 400 milliseconds that they're relying on, and all the other things going from seconds all the way into 40 minutes, which is Bitcoin. Obviously, we all know Bitcoin is legendary and an amazing technology, but it does take a while to actually confirm a block. All right, so for Solana, there's a few things that Solana has been using to scale. The number one thing being Turbine. That is essentially the runtime of Solana. It's built in Rust. It's built highly optimized, low-level programming language to allow for bits and bytes on the internet to be moved around very quickly and very efficiently, without all the abstractions of higher level languages that we see in different industries. So writing it was crucial that the Solana runtime was written in a low-level language. Parallel execution, if you're not familiar, parallel execution allows execution of transactions to happen in parallel versus one sequentially. One transaction finishes and then the next one can start after that. We need to make sure that we are allowing for parallelized execution. It's honest, Solana actually came out of the box with parallel execution. The cool thing is that we're starting to see this. And while I'm talking about Solana, like I want the entire industry to succeed. I think we all do. And parallel execution is making its way into the EVM world, which I think is incredible. Monad is actually heavily involved in bringing parallel execution to the EVM world. So this is super exciting. Another thing for scaling Solana, and it's not directly related to the scale itself of blockchain, but local fee markets. I want to talk briefly about local fee markets. Allow for sort of like isolation and markets for like prioritizing transactions. Like on Solana right now, or just like imagine you have this crazy NFT degenerate mint that's happening. And some other application that's very useful to this person over here because of all the activity happening on this degenerate NFT mint on this side, my application is impacted. So local fee markets are allowing to prioritize fees, but also at the same time, it allows for isolation of activity so that the activity that's going crazy over here is not going to impact the activity on the rest of the state of the network. This is not like fully perfect yet, but as technology evolves, this is what we're trending towards. And this next slide here is really just showing like when the local fee markets was switched on, and like you can see when some higher activity was taking place. Not a super important chart, but just something to look at. Like when you start to see these spikes in activity, you're still not even paying a penny for the transactions, but you are able to prioritize your fees, pay a little bit extra, less than a penny still, to get your transaction through if necessary. So to really like sort of dive into the whole consumer app scaling layer, like just to circle back to like one of the first slides I talked about, it is crucial that we solve cost, speed, experience, and security, like at the blockchain layer, whatever layer it is, so that developers can focus on building their product, focus on the product experience, focused on the user experience and focused on adoption. Right now, in the current state of things, as we look around, like it's just infrastructure. Developers are having to come up with unique and tricky and complicated ways to scale their applications. So they're not even given the ability to focus on those consumer applications. On Solana, this is already possible. On other blockchains, we're starting to see some L2s that they're doing really great. There's still the issues, in my personal opinion, with L2s right now is like we have fragmentation, bridging, scaling issues, and all these things. I think we're going to get to a place where that changes in the future. But again, Solana's critical mission here is to solve that at the base blockchain layer so that developers can come onto the blockchain and build products and only focus on that: products, users, and adoption. So this is client diversity on Solana right now is, if you're not familiar with clients are essentially what all the validators around the world are running. Right now, Solana has about 3,000 to 3,500 globally synced nodes and validators, all running pretty much the same client. If that client fails, if there's a critical bug, the issue here is that the network can go down. We've seen this on a variety of blockchains. This will crush the trust of the masses if this is thing. So client diversity means different validators can run different clients. And this can prevent crashes of networks, because if there's a critical bug in one client, the other client or the other clients will continue to produce blocks and keep the network safe. Right now on Solana, while there is only one in mainnet live today, there's 2 more in the works. And we'll talk about one. If you haven't already heard about Fire Dancer, the team at Jump Crypto is building a brand new client from the ground up, written in C, highly performant, and in an isolated environment. Through their tests, they've been able to achieve on Solana 600,000 to 1 million transactions per second. This is actually insane. How incredibly performant this thing is. We'll see what it looks like whenever it goes live on mainnet. But if we're able to get clients to achieve 600,000 to 1 million transactions a second, we can scale blockchain to the entire world. And again, 3,500 global nodes is pretty decentralized in the context of that. So having a blockchain with 3,500 nodes performing 600,000 transactions a second is something that's never, in a decentralized fashion, is something that's, as far as I understand, has never really been achieved before. So again, this allows consumer applications to scale because we get closer and closer and closer to the speeds of our Web2 predecessors. And just to show a little bit of the client diversity that will happen very soon, we have our main Agave client that was forked from the Solana client, Fire Dancer, which I just spoke about. And then there's another one called Sig being written in another Lululemon language called Zig. So hopefully, optimistically, sometime in the next 12 months, maybe Solana will have 3 clients. So if one has an issue, the other two clients continue on, no problems. And this will prevent any sort of network downtime. This will instill trust in the end users and the developers and the rest of the world. So very exciting things. So as we continue to scale, as I mentioned previously, Solana has roughly producing blocks, which translates to 1 transaction, like a transaction happening every 400 milliseconds. Concurrent block producers, well, I won't get into the technicals here because it's probably boring to most of you. Concurrent block producers is going to optimistically take us down to 200 milliseconds. That is 1/5 of the second. That is roughly the snap of a finger. And if we reach this and we're able to, we are trending in the direction of getting to a scale where we can really give Web2 a run for its money. So I'll leave this up for a moment for everybody to look at. If you are technical, if you are interested in all the innovations and all of the proposals and all the new technologies that are happening on Solana today, maybe you want to propose something yourself, maybe you want to join the conversation. We have the SIMDs, which are the Solana improvement proposals. So I figured there was some technical folks in the room. So I'll leave this up for you if you're interested in joining the conversation and seeing what's happening and all the different innovations and proposals. Feel free to join in the conversation. So just showing like Solana is one of, if not the fastest growing developer ecosystems in the world. We have global hackathons twice a year, producing hundreds and roughly into the thousands of projects every 6 months on Solana, varying in different verticals and industries and all these different things. But there's a reason for this. There's a reason that people are coming to Solana. It's because they can build applications at scale. This is why it's crucial as an industry that every blockchain, that every layer, everyone starts to try to reach something that's reasonably useful to the end user by reducing the cost and increasing the speeds. And this is just paramount. Again, I hate to keep saying it, for the success of our industry, we must allow Web3 apps that scale to the world. Just to briefly talk about a few, if you haven't heard the phrase, there's this phrase that goes around, only possible on Solana. I'm not going to talk about all these, but I will talk about a couple things. Because of the low cost and high speed Solana enables, Helium is a mobile network provider. And in a decentralized way where people can actually host their own sort of node and sort of give coverage to specific places around the world. And this is growing rapidly. And actually, at being a provider of the Helium network, by purchasing one of their pieces of equipment, you can actually earn rewards for doing this. So it's a super exciting thing. Helium is actually becoming highly successful. HiveMapper is a depend project. HiveMapper is very similar to Google Maps, where you actually can drive around on your car and map out the globe and earn rewards for this. So basically using the blockchain to map out the world, earn rewards, and doing this all in a very decentralized fashion. This would not be possible on most blockchains because it would be just too slow and too costly to do that. And then Drip, at the very end, Drip is a creator platform. They're sending out roughly 100,000 into the millions of NFTs, like art from creators, every week. It's pretty incredible. This is enabled by something, not just the low cost and low speeds, by something that Solana, that engineers in the Solana ecosystem created, called state compression. This allows you to greatly reduce the cost of things by compressing it. I won't get into the details too much here, but like it's leveraging Merkle trees in order to restore state on the blockchain. So this allows to compress the amount of data stored on the blockchain greatly. And I'll just, this is an older chart, but I'll go ahead and just show it really quickly. What we're looking at here is 100,000 NFTs. An old Solana would cost 1,200 Sol. That's a lot of money. Right now, 100,000 NFTs minted will cost you, using state compression, for roughly 4 Sol, we're talking about $600, something like that. On Ethereum, I don't even want to do the math here, how much 100,000 NFTs would cost to mint, but it's somewhere in the neighborhood, it's 440 ETH. It's somewhere in the neighborhood of millions of dollars. And just jumping to that last row, 100 million NFTs on Solana would cost you 56 Sol. This is less than $10,000, 100 million NFTs. If we look at ETH, that's 440,000 Ethereum to mint that same amount of NFTs. The point of this is not to say, look how great Solana is. That's not the purpose. The purpose of this is to show that, like, if we are going to reach this critical scale that we are looking for, we have to reduce these costs. And state compression on Solana is enabling that right now. And finally, this is just a little thing here. Because of the speed and the cost, you can launch it at I don't even know why this says minutes, to be honest, because truthfully, it's actually probably seconds with a simple command. SPL token, create token, and boom, you have a token that costs you essentially nothing to create. So anyways, final thoughts, and I'll say it one last time, even if you're sick of hearing it, is that if we are going to succeed as an industry, we must reach scale, lower the cost, increase the speeds, improve the experience, and allow developers to build products and focus on that versus focusing on infrastructure. So that's it. Thank you.